What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm taking a look at Black Mirror. I've been going through this series, going back through the old episodes and talking about them because we had a new season that dropped, and I wanted to go back through all of Black Mirror because I'd actually never watched the series before. And they're all like short movies, so that's what's kind of fun about Black Mirror is they really are like a true anthology, and they're all completely tonally different, and the stories are actually really interesting instead of some things like American Horror Stories, which I have seen, and I would not say uniquely that the stories are like I want to revisit those are really brilliant ideas. um some of these are really interesting, and they sort of ask questions about our future and the choices we might make. This is uh, this is White Bear. It's season 2, episode 2, and I like when I was Googling Black Mirror a lot, I saw that one of the most popular Google searches was, "What is the significance of the white bear?" I was like, "What does it even mean?" Now I get around to it, and I'm like, "Oh, we're here this episode. Oh, this should be fun." So, click like and subscribe, and join my cult following here on YouTube. Uh, we wear pink on Wednesdays. So Black Mirror. This one doesn't really have any super notable casts that I recognized anyway. I mean, I don't have facial recognition, so it could be like character actors, and I could click on everybody's IMDb profiles and be like, oh my god, you were that person and that person. It doesn't, like the last one had Haley Atwell and Domhnall Gleeson in it, so I didn't need to click on IMDb for them. um, this is it doesn't give you a lot of information. You wake up, there's a woman, and she's in a room, and she doesn't know what's happened. Her wrists have been wrapped, so it looks like she's survived maybe a suicide attempt or something like that. There are pills around her. She's very disoriented. There's this weird TV thing with a symbol on it. She looks around the room and sees pictures, and she has no idea what the fuck is going on. There's a calendar on the wall, which, by the way, audio description team, mad props. I loved how you described the calendar on this, because the calendar said that all of the dates were marked off up to and including October 17th. So I liked how it wasn't like through October 17th. It was very definitive, so that you knew that all of October and October 17th were marked off. So you could tell today is October 18th. And I don't know if it really has any significance or relevance, but the date specifically, but it does. By the end of the thing, you sort of see how that all comes together. And she goes out, she exits the room, and tries to figure out how, what's going on. And eventually she goes outside, and shit gets even weirder. There are a whole bunch of people who are just like in windows and other houses, and everybody's on their phone, like staring at her with their phones out, like recording her or whatever. And there isn't a single like normal person around, and she's just like yelling at people. She's like, where am I, what's going on? Then this guy pulls up, he's got like a ski mask and a shotgun, and he runs after her and chases her, and then she runs and is able to run into these other people who seem unaffected by whatever the fuck is going on. And so she ends up teaming up more with the female. I forget what her name was. The names don't really matter in here, by the way. Nobody cares. It feels like you're playing a video game. It feels like you are waking up in a video game and you're chasing, and then this person is and then you don't know like what's next, right? And so um the person that you meet is like, come on, we have to go through here, and we have to do this, we have to go over there and do that, we have to grab that, and they're like giving you like mission tasks as you go through. um and so she goes off with the girl as the guy stays back to fight the guy with the shotgun, and she sees the guy that was helping them, he gets shot, and then like the guy with shotgun is coming after them, and then there are like other hunters, and then we learn that there are these. So what the story is supposedly is that there's this weird TV signal that happened that hacked in and caused everybody, like almost everybody, to turn into these weird drones that are all on their phones. And she tells, she like the one woman who doesn't know who she is, tries to take a phone one time. The woman's like, "No, you can't look at the screen. The recording's on the screen too." And I'm like, "Oh, she's immune. Wouldn't Why would that matter?" This girl's just not thinking straight. She also has these like weird, like sort of mental health breaks where she keeps seeing flashbacks of her past, and she sees like a man and a little girl, and she thinks, because she also found the photo, so she's like, well, this must be my husband and my daughter, and this, something's not right. She starts remembering things like they've happened before, and she can tell what's going to happen next. So, and she hears the word white bear, and then that signals to her that something is amiss, because it means something to her and she doesn't know why, but she just knows it doesn't mean something good. And eventually, like the goal is to try to get to this power plant thing where they shut down the signal and blow up this facility, this radio tower or something, and set everybody free, I guess. So, but what ends up happening really is we see that everything is fake, everything is bullshit, and she is actually living out her prison sentence in what is a torturous hellscape of survival. Every day they reset it, and a new audience comes in and watches her survive, because she is part of like a Bonnie and Clyde type situation, who kidnapped this child, and they ended up killing the child instead of, and at the end they kidnapped him and killed this child. So she's not a good person. There is what I loved about the episode is that it mentions sort of like her court trial, in that there are some interesting things, like it was the guy that actually killed, and then she filmed it, so she was filming the murder, and she tried to say something about her being under the spell, so it kind of makes you question a little bit about, because it wants you to play with that morally gray area of cruel and unusual punishment. And because it's a lot easier when we know that somebody killed a kid and it's that person who actually killed the kid. But this is not the person who killed the kid. This is the person who was present for killing the kid, and was also claiming that they were having, mental health issues, which they might be, because she's kind of having mental health issues throughout the whole episode. But she's also kind of having them because they keep erasing her memory at the end of every day, which I would imagine would give you mental health problems. So if you had to erase your brain every day, I would imagine your brain would be pretty scrambled and fried after a little while. So, and all of the main players were all actors, all of the hunters and everything, and all the people that she tried to survive with, they do this every day. Like, this is their job, and they reset and everything, and they go through the next day, and then like another group of audience members comes in and sits there, and they get to come in like it's a zoo, and they participate, and they're given like, don't stand too close, if anything if you're ever in real danger, we'll step in. But, try to stay at least this far away from her, nobody talk or interact unless, it's absolutely necessary, for you to say something like to, I don't know, save your life or whatever. But because she does try to grab one of the guy's phones who gets too close at one point. So, yeah, I guess. But the actor girl stops her. So, and then it just resets. So at the end of these episodes, I've always asked my question, like, could this happen? In a sad sort of like Running Man future, yeah. I mean, we do have a world in which there's a guy that's trying to pitch a reality show where people get to compete on a reality show for the ability to have a green card to America, or it's like either a green card here or they're all like illegal immigrants and like one of them gets to stay. I can't remember what it is, but like there's a guy that's trying to pitch that reality show. I'm like, that's a horrific idea to like start turning that into reality television. Puts a whole new meaning on Survivor. If I get shipped back to my country, I will die. My brother was beheaded and I will be beheaded too. I'm competing on Survivor, Super Survivor, to stay in America, so I don't die. That's why. Everybody always they say their reasons. I'm like, I'm doing this for me. I'm a survivor, and I'm going to survive, or I'm just doing this to prove to myself that I can. That whole show would just be like, I'm doing this to not die. I'm doing this to not die. I'm doing this to stay with my family, who are all here in this country. Like all just really depressing reasons for people to stay. So, do I think that people could be entertained by this? Sure. And that sort of Schadenfreude type of thing. Yeah, I do. Yeah. Taking pleasure in other people's misery. Yeah, I could see this. I don't really see us having an immediate trajectory for this, but we have put some really wacky shit on reality TV before. It's going to have to take a country, though, might be us. We seem to be on a path to sort of say that this is something that they want to do and allow it to happen, because you have to work with the criminal justice system so that this is an actual like legal form of punishment. I don't know why anybody would choose this. I guess like instead of maybe if you're like you will be sentenced to death, or you could be on this, you could do this, and then they're like, I guess I wouldn't be dead. You just be living like the same day in this hellscape, like nonstop, over and over, repeating the same day. Not knowing why, because your brain is being erased the whole time. So there are worse things, I guess. But I don't know. That's the other thing about sort of like with the tech, is a lot of other things have introduced like tech that you could actually use. I don't get pleasure out of watching this. If this was real, I would not watch this. This is not. And I think one of the excellent things they did here in Black Mirror is present the morally gray area, because this isn't somebody who you can definitively say. I think the more interesting challenge would have been, would you watch it if you knew the person had done terrible shit? It's almost like that the Black Mirror writers weren't 100% sure that they could get people behind the cruel and unusual punishment if it wasn't like somewhat ambiguous and gray in the middle. Like, if this person was a serial killer of children, you know what I'm saying? And like, we knew, and they found, and they're like, well, they found them with all the bodies and he was eating children or something like that. And then that was the thing. Would people react to it differently? Probably, honestly, more people would be okay with that. But it's easier to sort of introduce her as being more of like an accomplice, and then she's stuck in this weird hellscape. So, and then you get to actually have a serious conversation about it, because there are some people that I think we disassociate with, like, I don't really care what happens to you, man. You made some terrible life choices and killed a bunch of people. So, it's easier maybe to see somebody like that having to repeat a living nightmare that they created for multiple people as like a serial killer than it is for somebody who didn't actually kill but didn't stop. You know what I'm saying? Like, um they're making very specific choices here for a reason, and it's because they don't want you to cheer it on. They want you to be horrified by the situation. They want you to have these kinds of conversations. I think it would have been far more interesting to see people react to this, and also to know that the person was like indisputably an awful person. Like, there's nothing that, no one's gonna come out here and be like, well, it's, I mean, this, and I don't know, there's this too. Nobody's gonna play around with the should they or shouldn't they of it all. They're gonna be like, oh, wow, that's like the worst person ever. I okay, like that's an interesting conversation, but presented in the way that we're being presented it does make it, the ability to feel uncomfortable by it is more pronounced. So I don't know. Yeah, in general, there's a difference between watching it and then knowing it's happening and like being like, well, if you gotta want to go watch that, it's like it's like, I don't know. There are things out there that we allow, that we have happening, and it's like, well, I know you can go enjoy that. I don't enjoy that, but I'm not going to stop you from enjoying that. Some of them are perfectly fine. Like, it's something as simple and mundane as sports, right? Like, you're like, well, I don't like that, watching that sport, but I want you to be able to watch that sport. So I'm not going to stop that sport from existing. So there's sort of like that level of passive awareness that could happen if it was in like the extreme situation, like sentenced to death, or do you want to do this? So I like this episode a lot. I thought it was engaging. Honestly, it did twist. I actually thought we were in a video game. I truly thought this was going to be like Gamer, and Gerard Butler was like in that he was an avatar, and I honestly thought she was going to be a video game character. It played a lot like a video game, and you were having to like hit certain points and checkpoints, and I thought the people maybe who were holding up the phones were like NPCs, and like I really thought this was going to be some like weird version of a video game, but then it would turn out to be not a video game, and you'd be playing as a real person, and she doesn't really have autonomy over her body, like that kind of thing, and then some other person is operating her. That's where I thought it was going, was that. So it didn't do that. I like this episode. I think it's the best one so far. And yeah, it does. It engages you to have a conversation about it and to say, what would you do? How do you feel about this? Is this okay? And man, that's a tough thing. It's certainly terrorizing somebody, but at the end of the day, she doesn't lose any body parts. She's not dead. She wasn't set on fire or anything weird like that. It's just living a day in a constant hyper state of terror, of just being scared all the time. But I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna give this episode, I'm gonna give it an A-. Oh, it was really good. So in the audio description, also lots of details, especially when they had to go back through and reset everything. I liked how they followed the attention to detail on the resetting, because you get to see how it ends, and it reveals that everything's fake, and then you see how they sort of set everything up, and that was really cool as the credits are sort of happening. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.